Time to Shine Today podcast, Varsity Squad. This is Scott Ferguson, and you've heard me say how yoga really helped me level up, get past major injuries, internal being, just really helped me level up. And I do all my yoga on land. Okay, my good friend here, Christa Fairbrother from Christa Fairbrother Yoga. She's an Aqua Yoga coach and trainer who's passionate about helping people get fit and healthy. Christa is an internationally recognized expert in water yoga, published author and arthritis patient. She makes her home in Florida, yay, kind of my neighbor on the other side of the state, with her husband, 2 sons, and piles of books with tea stains. I love it. And her reminder to you is yoga's philosophy is pretty clear. If you can breathe and have a brain, you can do yoga. Being able to stick your foot behind your head is not a requirement. Trust me, I'm 6'1", I'm 260. That's probably never going to happen. And that's okay because there's so many other benefits. So, Christa, thank you for coming on. Welcome to the show. Please introduce yourself to the Time to Shine Today podcast Varsity Squad. But first, what's your favorite color and why?
Turquoise.
I knew you were going to say it.
Yes.
You're
because
a water.
what color is the pool going to be, right?
I love it.
Today, it's all about the turquoise.
What sign are you? Just curious.
I'm a Capricorn.
Okay.
So
all right. Very cool.
Yep.
Got it. Love it. Love it. So you've dealt with and dealing with medical issues that really keeps you from being a landlubber with yoga to the point of you can only go so far without really hurting yourself. So I'm thinking that's what turned you to Aqua Yoga. Is there a story behind that or really made your mind click?
Yeah, it definitely. So like some people, I started yoga for not knowing anything about it and just for physical reasons, right? Mm-hmm. It's important to share that because lots of people have different reasons for starting yoga, and every reason that you have is valid. Sure. I was a farrier 30 years ago. So for those people who don't know, a farrier is somebody who puts horseshoes on horses. The machines don't do that. Somebody still has to do that. That is not good for your back, right? Wow. And I'd heard somewhere that yoga was. So I signed up for yoga classes and I fell in love with it, right? Okay. I changed careers. I went to England. I have a master's in museum education. I had a couple kids. 20 years later, I'm still doing yoga. It's like, okay, this is clearly important to me. I signed up for yoga teacher training. When I did that, you'd mentioned I had some health problems. I had a lupus diagnosis, systemic lupus erythematosus, which is a systemic autoimmune disease. I was a little worried. It was like, oh, am I going to make it through yoga teacher training? I did okay. Mm-hmm. And I got a new diagnosis. It turns out I have a lot more arthritis going on, multiple kinds of arthritis. Wow. So I immediately thought, the reason I've been able to do this for so long, I was an athlete, I shod horses, bucked hay, rode horses, how have I managed to do this? It's really because of the yoga. And I gave the yoga practice the credit. I immediately went to yoga for arthritis teacher training. And there I met a fellow Floridian who was a yoga for arthritis trainer. And she said, hey, I have this weekly wine yoga in the pool night. And I'm like, oh my God, why has no one ever told me about this? And I immediately signed up for the Aqua Yoga teacher training, and the rest is history, as they say. And that's really now my specialty and what I've run with within the yoga community.
What's some barriers with people coming to you with, like, how can I get a deep stretch? Or, because asanas are made for, to go deep and to not control your breathing, but just let breathing flow. How do you handle those people, maybe objection with that, and also people that might be afraid of the water?
Great question. So first off, if you're afraid of the water and you come to a Pilates class, my head bows to you. You are so brave, because that happens more often than you think. A lot of people go and see a healthcare provider and they're told they need to do some exercise, but they have some other stuff going on and they want that kind environment of the water. So they show up to water exercise and they don't know how to swim and they're a little uncomfortable. So, hats off to those people. So it's important to recognize that unlike, say, stand-up paddleboard yoga, where you have a very strong likelihood of falling off and going splash.
Oh, every time.
Yes, all the time. We keep our head out of the water. So for those people who are a little scared about the water, we don't do headstand, handstand, scorpion, all those inversions.
Down dog in the water.
no down dog. And ladies, they don't want to get their hair wet either.
I gotcha.
Right? So it's a very kind and successful practice in that way for people who have that little bit of timidness about the water. And so knowing that, it's like, okay, we can keep you comfortable there. If you're wanting a more aggressive yoga practice, you actually have to be a little careful in the water because we have some properties of the science of water we have to think about. And you actually have increased joint space when you get in the water. So when I say
right, yeah.
Yeah, your joint space, it doesn't get bigger than it ever was. That's not what I'm saying. Is that it restores your natural space. Sure. So you can potentially in a stretch go up to 30% bigger, stronger, harder, more than you would on land. So if you're a person who has a real aggressive practice, you can get in the water and surprisingly hurt yourself. And your pain reception is dampened in the water, right?
Yes,
that's what the hydrostatic pressure, that inward pressure everywhere does for you. It dampens your pain response. So you're not feeling that like, oh my gosh, I'm stretching to my end limit in the same way you would on land.
Right.
Yeah. So a little bit of having to be careful there for people who do want more, as we would say.
Right. Is there like levels to Aqua Yoga that you can kind of get to? Because it's not a competition, but I'm been practicing Ashtanga for, I guess, going on this November will be 7 years. I'm only maybe 3/4 of the way the primary series of Ashtanga, right? So is there levels to Aqua Yoga?
Okay, that's a great question. So for those people who, are maybe new to the yoga tradition and what yoga is there are different schools of yoga. And some schools have levels like you're expressing. I started yoga in Iyengar Yoga, which also is a school of yoga that has a lot of levels. Right?
Series there. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. So Aqua Yoga is no, there are no levels in the sense of you should be getting at the pool and practicing at your level. And given that your theme is all about leveling up, right? Mm-hmm. It's your leveling up for you in yoga should be what you internally need, right? It's not set by outside level, a competition.
Love it.
It's not somebody else's determination of what you need in yoga.
Right.
It should be about what you need.
Right.
And in theory, all yoga is like that. But sometimes when we get in that place of competition, or we're maybe kind of looking around off our mat if we're in land, in the pool, we say, stay in your lane, right?
Right.
Keep it in your own practice, literally, right?
Right.
So leveling up is really a self-determining thing for you. You are in charge of your level, and you should be working to the level you need wherever you're at.
Love it. Love it. And so when you do your teaching, do you also do remote teaching at all? If someone has a pool and you can follow along on their phone or their iPad or their laptop, do you have that?
Yeah, actually, I'm like one of the few people in the world who has high-speed internet access in my backyard pool.
Love it.
So I can actually help you. Like if you're like, I want to do this at the pool, I can be in the pool live and show you. One. Two, tech, if you're at the pool, you don't want your tech. You don't want to take your little laptop out to the pool where it could get wet, right? So the pool itself is a fairly low tech environment for most people. So if you have audio instructions you can use, or you watch a video, at home in the confines of your desk where it's safe without tech, you take notes, you take those notes out to the pool. Their waterproof sequences are available, they're laminated so they last forever. So tech is a little bit of a barrier, but yeah, in this age of everything's gone digital,
sure,
I've made it happen like everybody else.
Love it. I love it. You what do they call it now? Pivot. They used to call it shift. Now you shifted. We'll just call it shivot. You did a shivot on that. That's awesome. I love it.
Go in other directions. I love it. That's real close to
I love it.
That we could all say about COVID right now.
I love it. So I want you to puff your chest here a little bit because you're fantastic. I watch your videos on YouTube. It's awesome. So what do you think makes a great yoga instructor, whether it's aqua or on the land?
That's a great question. I think there's the ability to see what you have in front of you, synthesize your skills and your experiences, and be able to communicate what that person needs.
Love it.
So I am not here to tell you what, quote, I see as a yoga teacher and I think you need. I am there to serve you. So I need to know your goals, what's going on with you, what you need, and take everything that I've been trained and can offer and put it in service to you.
Love it. And you're doing that through powerful questions, listening with all your senses, because yoga, you have to. Yes. Todd McLaughlin, he's my, I call him my yoga coach, but, he is a master yogi. And I just remember him asking the questions that actually made freaking sense for me. It wasn't about, hey, this is how we do it, and you have to follow along. He's like, dude, let's just find what your level is. You have any questions? Yes. And speaking of questions, when you're starting working with somebody one-on-one, Is there any good question that you wish that they would ask you but never do?
That's a really good question. So the one that I wish people would ask is, tell me how this matters in my everyday life.
Yes.
Because that is what I'm all about. I told you I was a farrier for a long time, and I think that really helps drive, why I like being a yoga teacher is, yes, I want to help you in yoga. And yes, I want you to have a good time in yoga. But the reality is I want you to take the yoga and go home and be better in your life, be a better person, be more comfortable, have more comfort, right? And so I want it always to be relevant. You're not raising your arms in a pose because you're going to look amazing and make the cover of Yoga Journal. You're raising your arms so you can build those muscles and get the stuff out of your top cupboard, right? When you need the Christmas ornaments. So I wish people would ask more questions about, okay, you're giving me this great information. How do I make it relevant in my everyday life? Which I try to, offer them, because that's what I'm driving at. But I wish more people thought of it from that perspective in the get-go.
That's excellent. That's beautiful how it spills over and really helps you level up other parts of your life. Like you said, you're a farrier, and it's like you could probably bend down and grab that horse's leg and bend it up and put the shoe on a little bit easier, if you're really practicing. So let me ask you something. I'm not going to say yoga gets a bad rap, but lymphatic system is huge, because your heart can pump blood and it can cleanse your blood, but your lymph system needs certain movements to, I rebound every morning for 5 minutes on a trampoline. Okay. And what I'm thinking, and you tell me if I'm wrong, but being aquatic yoga can actually help flush the lymph system because you're weightless in some parts of it, because on a trampoline, you're weightless for at least a second when you're in the air, or maybe half a second. But when you go down the trampoline, it's 4 times the gravity. So it's that pumping action that pumps out the lymph system, because that's the only way it can be cleansed. I was wondering, is aquatic yoga good for helping cleanse out the lymphatic system?
That's an excellent question. And your observations on that are really interesting. So it is an excellent way to do it. But the science on it is a little different, because we have the hydrostatic pressure of the water, right? The air is putting pressure on us, but we don't recognize it because it's so small, right? You get in the water and think about that feeling you have is like, oh my gosh, I'm kind of like in a sock and I'm getting sucked in everywhere, right? That greater density of the water is what's called the hydrostatic pressure, and it's making some physiological differences in your body. Your heart is working more efficiently, right? Because it's now got that pressure everywhere. That pressure inward everywhere is helping reduce any swelling. So a lot of what you're talking about from lymphatic drainage is maybe some pooling in your feet, right? Well, because your heart's working more efficiently, you don't have that going on, as well as it makes your kidneys more efficient. When you get in the pool and you're like, oh my God, I have to pee and I haven't been here very long. It's everyone. It's not just you, everyone, because our kidneys are more efficient, right? So you're filtering everything faster in the water. And you're getting the benefit similar to what you're talking about from the anti-gravity, but it's not really the reduced weight. It's that increase in pressure in the water.
Wow. That educated me, man. That's some knowledge bomb right there. Knowledge nugget. I love that. I love it. So Christa, how much do you appreciate your strengths that you have within the field of yoga?
I appreciate them a lot. Yeah. I mean, because at the end of the day, that's about all you got is your skills.
Sure.
Right. Yeah.
How about your weaknesses? Got any?
My weaknesses. So that is a great question, because my journey through yoga, a lot of it has been about trying to develop some more self-compassion for myself. Because we as yogis are thought of as very empathetic, beautiful people, it's like, hey, we're human just like the rest of us. I yell at my kids. I get annoyed when people cut me off in traffic, right? I tell people, I joke with my students, I don't do yoga because I'm good at it. I do yoga because I need it, right? It's like, I really need the yoga. So I have, in my yoga work, I have really worked on trying to develop more self-compassion for myself and my weaknesses and failures. And that in turn actually makes me better with everyone around me, because I can have more compassion for everybody's failures and weaknesses. And we're all just human trying to do the best we can. And we need to have grace for each other.
I love that, because not only a byproduct of, the being relevant to real life, it goes back to that again. It spills over into being able, I've noticed I never had road rage, but I would yell at people in my car with my windows up. And ever since early through pranayama and just the asanas that Ashtanga puts me in, it's like, I don't really give a shit, excuse my language, like I did before. Trust me, I still get it, but it helps me control it.
Right. And you still care. You're still human. You still have emotions.
Yeah.
It helps you manage your reactions.
It flows.
Because you do a very challenging type of style of yoga.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're going through all these challenges, you have to check in with yourself and take that pause of like, can I do this? Yeah, I can do this. Keep going. Yeah, I can do this. Keep going. And it's the same like when you're in the car with somebody. It's just like, okay, I have a better sense of what really matters and where I'm going to be in 10 seconds. And I don't need to lose my cookies with this person.
Right. And to me, like yoga was humbling in a sense, because I've always been a combat athlete. And it was like, I really had to stand and maintain my lane on certain things. But at the same time, like I was getting maybe bored with it in a sense. Right. But I would liken it to like a locomotive. Like it takes so slow to get going, but once it's going, it's good. So it's like I try to put my mind there. Sorry for rambling, but I love talking to yoga.
It's like inertia. You can recognize in yourself
right
that your level of inertia is different than some other people's.
Right. Energy, absolutely. So have you seen the movie Back to the Future?
Of course.
Okay, let's get in that DeLorean with Marty McFly. Let's go back to the 22-year-old, the double deuce, the 22-year-old Christa. What kind of knowledge nuggets would you drop on her to maybe help her shorten her learning curve, level up, and blast through just a little bit?
I would say have confidence in yourself and advocate for yourself.
Wow.
So I think a lot of young women need to hear, you are awesome, you got this, you're going to rock it.
Right. And as part of your practice, when you're helping people, not just with their physiological, but help them build up that flex that mental muscle?
Absolutely. Yeah. So yoga has 8 limbs and the poses is basically just one limb, right? There is a whole yoga philosophy that goes with it. And I frankly think, and other yogis do as well, that the reason yoga has lasted so long is not because of those poses. You go to the gym and you do a burpee. Is it any different than yoga? No, we just give it a different name, right?
Yeah.
We don't do yoga because we got these amazing stretches.
Right.
We do yoga because we're applying those amazing stretches in a context that helps you be a better person.
Love it.
And that's what really brings people back.
Beautiful. I love it. So yeah, it brings me back because it's like yoga to me. I almost think sometimes it's almost like golf, which I try to play golf, where, you hit that one good shot, it keeps you coming back. It's like I have a practice where I don't feel like it, but I just will sit, whether it's down dog or even savasana, where I'm just like in corpse pose, right? And just like, man, this was good. It was like, I want to come back, and it releases physically the endorphins, but it also just gets that blood circulating. Thank you for saying that. So how do you want your dash remembered? That little line in between your incarnation date and your expiration date, your life date and your death date. Hopefully it's a long way down there in your tombstone, but how do you want that dash remembered?
I want people to just really remember that I persevered.
Okay.
That it's, I like to think of myself as, I know you're going to ask about the music, but I'm not an 80s gal. The Chumpawampa, the tub thumping song, she gets back up, it's knocked down again, is just keep on keeping on.
I love it. So you're like a 90s one, huh? You like that 90s one?
I'm old.
Love it.
I look. Put it that I am older than I look.
Okay, I'll give you that one. I'll be 50 in like 30 days. So I'm embracing that and saying, bring it on. I love it. I love it. So who then has had the most profound impact on your life or your career?
That's really a great question. And I have to say that it's more, I haven't had that person that's been that impactful like my entire life. I've had people that were very impactful in slices.
Love it.
Because as you hear from my story, I've done some really diverse things. I've lived in different places.
Right.
So instead, rather than have that one go-to person, I really like to be as broad in where I'm currently at. Okay. And really take in who's there for me at any given time and really connect in that way.
I love it. Step back and look different parts of my life, there's been something that showed up because I was open to it, and I was, got my asking gear, if you will. I really just started asking, around, and because I'm just been a curious kid. And luckily my parents didn't tell me no that much, because kids these days are told no by the time they're 13, like 135,000 times. We're born.
Oh, I would think it would be more than that.
Yeah, probably. Right. So it's like my dad would put the foot down, but he was like, all right, dude, this is why you're not getting that candy in the aisle, or this is why we're not doing this and stuff. So I love that. So if you didn't find yoga, or yoga didn't find you, what do you think you'd be doing right now?
Oh, I'd be making some bad choices, I would think.
You might even be in a wheelchair with that arthritis and stuff. I was thinking, you never know.
You never know. And that's why what makes science so hard, because, you can't go back and do it a second time on a human.
Right.
So what's the experiment? It's like, I have no control as a scientific concept of a control study. So yeah, I think that my life would be in not as good a place. I would have not as made as good of choices. I wouldn't be as stable, emotionally, in my family, in my physicality. So
love it.
Yeah. I think it's really helped me make some good life choices.
So that gap that comes between like yoga and other talents, what is in that gap? Like you have yoga, you have the spillover, but what do you feel is in the middle of that? Like me, it's a hard question for me to even answer, because there's like Arnold and bodybuilding, like Arnold Schwarzenegger and bodybuilding, and then what he did later in his life, whether you're a fan of his or not. But like there's people that have did that are passionate about yoga, but led to something else. What within that gap between maybe farrowing and yoga do you remember the most?
Oh, in my international travel.
Okay.
because that, when and lots of people say this is, a common axiom, is it just opens your eyes to the world. I was born in America. I'd never left the country. And, you hear on the news all these amazing things and places. And I'd studied art history. So I'd looked at these amazing places and works of art for years. And then there's a really big difference to see it on a slide on a tiny little screen and actually stand in front of a Van Gogh or,
isn't it? It's different.
Cathedral is just hands down amazing. And so Mont Saint Michel, it just blows you away.
And it's what I love about you. And the reason why I kind of asked that question is a lot of people stick beliefs that they have that are really programmed by their tribe. Like beliefs are just like a poor excuse for not experiencing shit, and stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're believing into something where you kept such an open mind throughout your life that you experienced the yoga, you experienced international travel and whatnot. And that's where I just like part of my coaching, what I do is, basically mindset, values, beliefs, breakthrough, and stuff like that. So I don't believe in holding back. That's why the whole thing is leveling up. We've actually live it at Time to Shine today, is taking it to the next level. So what is Christa's definition of a life well lived?
Oh, that is a really good question. I think it's that you were brave and that you made those choices, that that tiny little voice inside you was just like, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this. And it's so easy for others to say, don't. And you just, you make it happen. So like, for example, to do that international travel, I had to save up for 2 years and get a second job and sell everything I owned and find homes for all my horses and animals. And it was a process. And there was so many times I could have said no. Yeah. And really when in talking with others, what I came to realize, it was just like, no, I'm the one doing this. Like everybody else would love to and wants to. And the only difference is I'm actually doing it.
Right. Why do you think that is?
Well, we're all different people. But as you spoke to, it's what are we choosing to value and what choices are we making? And we're all on a different journey, right? If I am not saying like, if you're like, well, you crazy, there's somebody listening, you crazy yoga person, I can't sell everything I own and move to another country and all this. It's like, yes, I was single at the time. I didn't have kids at work.
Sure.
But, we're all in a different place, but we all at every stage of our life have that little thing like like, I'd love to play the cello. I'm making this one up, right? I have no
Sure.
musical talent. So for me, it's not a music thing. But if that is your voice, what is stopping you? You know,
Right.
there's no reason you can't rent a cello, borrow
Beliefs,
a cello.
though. That's what I tell people.
Our library literally checks out musical instruments, right?
Yeah.
And so what is stopping you from doing that? The odds are it's not the person in the grocery store saying, well, you can't play the cello.
Right.
You didn't even have that conversation with them. Right?
Yeah.
It's you internally are the one saying, no, you have no musical talent. Notice I've said that to myself. And so that one is one, it's like, yes, I am stopping myself from developing any musical talent.
Yes. Yeah, that's why I'm learning keyboard right now, and I'm learning Spanish because I have to expand my mind. It's
so
just
it's
how I
us.
believe. Yeah.
We are our own worst enemy a lot of times.
Yeah. And I think that I feel wholeheartedly that you're sinning if you don't. And what I mean by that is the Greek word origination of sin, which is sinning, which means missing the mark. Okay. So it's like, I believe that if you're not expanding and progressing and leveling the, you know what, up, that you're sinning. And I mean, you're put here with an ability to do stuff. And that's what my clients do. Either they love me, you know, they hire me more, or they fire me, because that's what I believe. Because we're, you know, I fought for this country so you could kind of have the opportunity to do what you want. And like, I don't get upset at them. I just want them to understand that, you know, your past has never defined you, and that being realistic is the straightest, fastest road to mediocrity. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I want people to level up, and I appreciate this conversation so much. So, squad, we're going to take my awesome sauce yogi friend, Christa Fairbrother, through our leveling up lightning round just as soon as we get back from thanking our sponsors and affiliates. Time to shine today. Podcast Varsity Squad, we are back, and I got Christa Fairbrother, my Aqua Yogi rock star, beautiful lady, and you've listened to a few of my shows. And I really appreciate that. We're going to be in our leveling up lightning round, and you and I will talk one day sometime, and we're going to like bounce stuff off each other and whatnot, and live and in person. Can't wait to take one of your courses or classes in person. But you and I could talk in 15, 20 minutes on each one of these questions, but you have 5 seconds with no explanation. Okay. So you know the rules, right?
Yep.
Awesome. Let's level up. So, Christa, you see me walking down the street in my doldrums, not really feeling it. What book are you handing me?
Lord of the Rings.
Love it, really. I love that. No one's ever said it, but I get it because I've read it. So many lessons.
Yeah, sure, so many, and everything, and it's so yogic.
Right. Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
I brush my teeth every morning.
Yes. Nicknames growing up.
Oh, wow. Uh-oh. I didn't have one.
Okay.
Yeah. I
love it.
It's like, no, I'm sorry. I didn't have one. I can't answer that one.
Chess or checkers?
Chess.
Chess. Okay. New Year's resolution in 2021.
Last year, not get COVID.
Love it. Did you do okay with that?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay, good.
I'm medically vulnerable, so I'm trying really
hard.
Love it.
What song blew your mind other than Tub Thumping?
I'm a really big Michael Franti song aficionado. So not necessarily one, but he has so many. Check out his catalog.
Love it. Most commonly used emoji when you text?
The smiley face with the heart eyes.
Love it. And don't lie to me on this one. If you could stay one age physically for the rest of your life, keep the knowledge you've garnered, continue to gain wisdom, what age physically would you stay?
Oh, I'd go back to 25.
There you go.
I rocked it then. Yeah.
I'm good. I'm 28 to 32. I don't have the creeps to crack.
I like you said, very important. I keep the knowledge I have now. I'm not giving that up.
Love it. Best compliment you ever received?
Oh, that you're fun.
I love that. Thank you. And so, Christa, how can we find you?
The easiest way is my website, which is my name, Christa, Christa, and Fairbrother is just like it sounds. F as in Frank, AIRbrother.com.
Love it. And is there anything we want to offer the squad right now of listeners?
I have a bunch of free Aqua Yoga videos that you can watch for free. So we're in Florida, and so it's January. I recognize it might be a little easier for us.
Tougher.
But
right.
If you have access to an indoor pool up north, watch the videos, take notes, take your little notes to the pool. Don't make that be the barrier. Don't make tech be the barrier. just take the information to the pool.
And squad, you got to go to this website, ChristaFairbrother.com, which will be in the show notes. And she's actually looks like she's doing Savasana here on water noodles. And that's just awesome. I never even really thought of that. And that's something I'm going to try. You know, that's fantastic. And do me one last solid, Christa. Leave us with one last knowledge nugget you want us to take with us, internalize, and take action on.
That wisdom is gained from being a good listener, not talking all the time.
Yes.
Now that we have talked for half an hour.
No, it's you know what? And that's so true.
People are going to listen to this. So,
yeah, and God, or your creator, gave you one mouth and two ears for a reason. It's cliche, but it's true. And we like to practice listening with our neck. You know, the people that I train, that train under coaching with me, and the people I talk to, like, you're really listening and you're using all your senses. And I love that. And squad, we had a awesome masterclass with my awesome sauce friend, Christa Fairbrother from Christa Fairbrother Yoga. And she's opened up my eyes and want me to just run out really and try Aqua Yoga, because I know it's going to have so many benefits for me. You know, she was a farrier, you know, the people that put the shoes on the horses, and her back and body was just getting wrecked. And she found yoga and it helped her level up. And then she moved into the aqua part, which, you squad, you know me, I'm all about sound healing and water healing. Like, I'm literally getting done here and jumping in the ocean just because of the healing elements that I have, that the ocean gives me. And that's what Christa kind of pulls together with yoga asanas or poses to help heal you. You know, she wants you to ask, if you're going to hire Christa or hire another yoga instructor, you know, tell me how yoga matters in everyday life, how it can spill over, how the asanas or the poses are relevant to things you might be doing during your day, and how it's going to really help you level up. You know, she wants you to have confidence and be an advocate for yourself. You know, there's no shame in your game. Everybody has a gift. Bring it. Cut the negative beliefs. Give your, if you will, that. But, you know, as I say, that you can't be 100% positive all the time. 100% positivity does not work all the time, but what does is 100% negativity. Okay, so stay neutral, understand the negative, but work to progress, level up, and move forward. And the best way you could do that with your body is, let me introduce you to somebody like Christa. You know, her life well lived is someone that's being brave, that really conquers their fears. Like we say, face everything and respond, or face everything and rise. Fear, we know that fear is a physical emotion, that things can be conquered just with how you're standing, how you're breathing. And guess what, squad? Yoga will help you with that. So she's a fantastic listener. She listens with all her senses. She asks the most powerful questions. She'll get you that level. She levels up her health. She levels up her wealth. She's now a really good friend of mine. She's an advocate for her awesome life. She's beautiful, humble, yet hungry. Thank you so much, Christa, for coming on. I love your guts so much.
Thank you. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk with you.
Yay! Can't wait to talk soon. See ya.